What's up, fellas, ladies, and gents? I'm gonna try to follow this on my phone over here because I'm doing this on my phone, and the way I gotta do it is too small to read everything. So I apologize if you see me looking down a lot. So let me go find my feed. There we go. But those were on here. What's up, Kimworth? But those were on here. Let me turn this thing down so I don't get no echo. There we go. Well, Steven, I'm glad you're here, man. So, what's up, RH Mac? I think Chad calls you Big Mac. But the reason why I did not want to take this load, I did take the load that I got yesterday, and but the reason was this right here. So I sat for almost a day and a half there. Now I picked up at 12:30 last night, and I don't deliver until 8 a.m. this morning. I'm sorry, tomorrow morning. So, so in my opinion, anytime you're sitting, man, for more than 12 hours, it's a bullshit load. Yeah, I had a good week. You got to kind of look at it at that perspective, but I just look at it as, is this worth leaving my family for just to sit here? I mean, that's really realistically what I'm looking at it as. I mean, and for some of those, it may not be worth it. The money's good when you're moving, but when you're sitting, the money ain't no good. I mean, I just now drove almost 640 miles for $694. Ooh, a little bit more than $1 a mile. I mean, that's chump change. No, because my appointment's not until tomorrow, 8 o'clock. But I was in a location uh, yesterday that no freight was coming out of. So in order to get moving, I just basically had to take this bullshit load to get the wheels turning. So I actually called my fleet manager before I took the load, and it was my daily fleet manager and Tim, which is Bags, Chad's, mine. I mean, pretty much everybody that he's trained as far as the fleet manager. And I said, is freight good in Memphis? Because I mean, my thing is, am I going to get down here and kind of get stuck again for another day or two? So yeah, lick your wounds. That's right, lick my wounds. So my thing is that he said, and we actually delivered here close by. Chad had told me about this place. We rode through here one night, and there were some hookers out on the corner, and not right here, but on down the road in Memphis, and they were still set up shop over there, and looking all skankish. So I'm just going to be happy to sit here, chillax, and hopefully get a good load again to start the week out. Because last week, we had a really good load starting out. It was like 1,800. Then we went from there and we got a $2,700 load, and so you can't complain too much. What's up, Stefan? Hey, Stefan. So let me ask you to debunk a myth, because I heard several people say, and I want to know the truth. Does the curtains come with the Freightliner, or is that something you had to purchase? Mine came standard, the front and the rear. Nope, no windshield curtain. Damn, I used to follow my windshield curtain more than anything. That sucks. That sucks. But I guess you can makeshift a curtain if you had to. But yeah, just sitting here. Yeah. So where you at, Stefan? How are you doing? What are you usually bringing home a week to the truck now? I know you've been out a couple weeks now. So what are you averaging? Maybe you don't want to tell me. That's all right too. I have a pretty good video. How's that at LT 625 running the mileage you're getting, Jason? Actually getting pretty good, man. We actually last week when we got the fleet wide. Okay, let me see. So fleet wide, you get a message every week, and it talks about the fleets. Gas mileage and stuff, and if I can find the daggone thing, I forget what it was. Right here. So Tim's fleet average is 8.41, and I'm getting 9.32. So that's straight from the Qualcomm here. So 8.41 is his fleet average, and I'm getting 9.32. So I mean, we got pretty good gas mileage in the Cascadia, Chad's Cascadia. Sometimes we could get, depending on where you're at. Like for me, I just now came from Illinois, went through Springfield, picked up in Carthage, Missouri, and drove down to Memphis, and I'm getting right at about 9.1. And those are some pretty big hills, obviously, in Missouri. So I was pretty happy about that, and that's cruising at 60. Now I'll tell you what, I'm in Buffalo. LOL. Honestly, my first check was 905, and we'll see about this. Yeah, that wouldn't be good. 905. Yeah, that would suck. But when I went to Laredo, just because of it being my first solo long run, more than I think it was like 1,300 miles or whatever. So I booked it. I did 65 the whole way, and I got like 9.3. So it's I guess it just depends on the terrain that you're on, because I mean obviously once you get into Laredo or get into Texas, and I mean it's pretty flat. I mean I went down when I went from, I mean I did 10 from basically Florida all the way over, um, and got that. I mean, it was really good gas mileage. Tim and I butted heads already, just stupid stuff. He doesn't have patience. My first week I had a bad trailer, and that was out of service, so I sat a few days because of Easter. Yeah, me and him done had a few words too, man. So don't feel bad. It's just that's one of the things that I kind of addressed earlier with the fleet manager supervisor over everybody in Springfield. When I did my upgrade class, I told him right up front, and he agreed with me that he knew who he was, and he said that he was really dry, But I told him, I didn't care about personality wise. As long as my money was there every week, I'm okay. But when you send a message to him, and me being new and you being new, Stefan, I feel like he he sends back some dumbass answers, man. He's like really short, really, brief. And so, if I got a question, dude, I want you to answer it. And, I don't care if you got 50 trucks. If you can't handle it, then get somebody else to help you. But if I need help, I need help. And I feel like his patience, like you said, are kind of, I'd be interested in meeting him, man. I told him when I got my upgrade approved by him, um, on that Friday, the 28th, I told him that I wanted to go down to Denver to meet him because I mean, if you can't comment or if you can't talk to your people, I mean, you're in business together, like Chad's talked several times, but if you can't communicate to me, man, then just give me somebody else. That's just the way I feel like that. His answers are always real short. He's kind of smart ass ish. That's a word. And a lot of his stuff, so it comes across like he's a dickhead. I mean, just be honest with him. I mean, that's just, in my opinion, that's what he comes off. Yeah. Uh, yeah. Kibble, dude, I was rolling. I'm telling you. I mean, like, because the biggest thing that I hate about this freaking International, man, is the cruise control and the Jake brake, engine brake. Man, it's not activated until you hit the brake, where you go over 5 miles an hour over the set cruise limit. On the Freightliners, you drop down the engine brake, you got the cruise on, it shuts the cruise off, and it activates the engine brake. That's what I like. I mean, if I'm going to use an engine brake, that's what I want to use it for. I don't want it to. I don't want to hit the brake. If I don't want to hit the brake, I don't want to hit the brake. I want to use the toggle switch, the Jake brake for it. But the freaking cruise control, man, is terrible. Like, you can set it on 2 and you may go 60. Other days you can set it on 62 and you go 62. But I can guarantee you, like, when you got your cruise control on 60, whatever, 60, 65, whatever you want to cruise it on, if it thinks you're coming up to a hill that may not even be a much of a hill that you're going to roll down on, man, it'll drop down to like 55, and that drives me insane. But overall, man, I've been I've been happy as far as with the runs. Now, he did run me a few. I mean, one time, man, I dedicated like 500 miles to to Michigan to get a trailer. I mean, yeah, it's a good gas mileage and everything, but I mean, it's like, dang. I took home time, man, for the last, so the last 2 weeks of checks has not been that great because I did it with home time, so I actually split it up. But the first week I came back from home time, I'm sorry, so I did Sunday through Thursday, and that Wednesday when I went off, so I was off Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. That Wednesday's paycheck, and I only ran 2 days, was for $600. Um, then I only ran 2 more days out of the following, and I only got $200. But I got the truck payment paid and everything like that. Didn't owe any money, wasn't in the hole. But this week's paycheck, this should be a pretty good paycheck. It should be probably about, I mean, I got $4,800 for the truck. So, I mean, I'm thinking after you take fuel and everything out, I should get over at least 2,000. So, not a bad week. And plus, freaking sitting. So that was my frustration thing, that I was up that much, at $4,800, and I'm counting this freaking $700 run here in that $4,800. But if I hadn't spent the day sitting over there and basically right now sitting, I mean, that's at least another load. I mean, I could have had this freaking thing. I could have had this here at 8 o'clock here this morning if they would have took it. So, but just getting into it, I guess you got to take the good with the bad and kind of learn the areas. But you know, definitely frustrating. It's a definitely a totally different experience from the trainers. I will tell you that 100%. Right now, when me and Chad are running, dude, we ran our butt in the dirt. I mean, we ran hard, and we ran long. And I get it that the solo drivers can't run as long because you got two people's clocks that you got to work with. But I mean, if you're giving me a 600-mile run in 2 days, that's an issue, dude. I can run 600 miles in a day. Come on now. No, dude, I run. My clock's up. I'm gone. I mean, this is my relaxing time right here. Shoot, how much more relaxing time you need? My freaking thing ain't until 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm gonna be sitting here for freaking 14 hours. I can say when I ran to Laredo, that was probably the hardest I've ran, and I got there early, but I mean I ran, man, 10 hours and 30 minutes. I ran my clock out almost, and I was at 65 the whole time. So, do you kind of chillax, relax, play your video game, Stefan? Is that what you do? Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, that 2:30, man. I'm telling you. So if you can get up, I've been usually running about 4:30 in the morning, but I'm done by 2, 3, and I haven't had any issues with parking. Obviously, you can't always run that route because of that time, because of different time pickups and everything. But I try to stay on that schedule. Like this morning, I mean, I could have got it. Like I was loaded and could have rode out at 2 o'clock. Like I was getting loaded at 12:30 this morning, last night, till this morning, and I was done loaded by 2 a.m. and I had a fresh clock at 2:30. Um, but I knew I'd be doing this right here. So I slept in a little bit. I got up at like 7 o'clock, rode out, and still made it here at freaking what 3:30, 4:30. So, but I got some pretty cool a video I'll post on later on tonight about um, the caves down in Missouri. So I had been down to the caves by Springfield, but I mean, of course, they're all the same and everything. But it's a different experience when you're doing everything back in and all that stuff. We never actually took a live load in the caves. When we went to the caves, the only time that we went to the caves is because we picked up an empty trailer, or I'm sorry, dropped an empty trailer and picked up a different one, and we had to run inside the cave to get the paperwork. So that was the only time during the team that I really kind of experienced the cave. But last night, I had a live load, and this one be a live unload in here. Yeah, and that's the thing. So that's what I'm kind of that's what I look at too, as far as mileage wise. What's the mileage? I mean, this week with going to and from Laredo, I mean, I probably did 3,000 miles, if not more, easily this week. Um, so was it really profitable? I mean that's what you got to really look at. I mean, it wasn't a bad run or anything, but I mean, I don't know, man. I just look at it. I'm a business kind of. I think about things, maybe overanalyze things, and so that's what it all boils down to. It's been a great learning experience. Um, I have no issues with Prime. I do have a couple issues with my fleet manager, as far as being short and stuff, but that's just like Chad said, that just let that be a duck, let it roll off your back, because if it don't, it'll fester. And because I'm one of them people, man, I want to just call him up and be like, hey, dude. So one example, this is a good example right here. So I was in Jacksonville. So I truly don't know what a fleet manager does other than dispatch, because sales basically gives him the things to dispatch, the loads to dispatch, and he disperses them as they come empty, is what he says. And that's maybe the truth. I don't know, but I'm just looking at it as, so I don't know all the details that a fleet manager does. But if you're my fleet manager and you dispatched me on a load, and you now are unaware that that load does not even happen until the following day. So not only are you waiting 12 hours, but now you got to wait another 24 hours before you get the load. I mean, I don't know, but if I had not called, which I do all the time on my loads to see when they're ready, if they're ready to pick up, if they're a spot or whatever, if I had not called and said, hey, man, please advise, this thing saying it's not picking up until tomorrow. Now I've been wasting, I've sit here and waited on my clock 10 hours to come good. So basically, my clock was going to be like within an hour or two. I called and said, hey, is it ready? And it said it was not going to be ready until the following day, like at 6:30, 16:30, which is before 4:30 in the evening. So he went. So this is a comment that I don't like. So I had sent him a message and I said, hey, I I really don't want to be sitting here for a day and a half on this load. Do you have anything else you can send me and put me on? And his response was, you haven't been sitting on this load for a day and a half. You've only been sitting on it for 12 hours. I'm like, okay, but it doesn't pick up until tomorrow night. So add it up. It's 24 and 12. That's a day and a half. But he immediately pulled me from the load and he put me on that good load to Laredo. Um, so those kind of comments, man, it just makes your job, harder, because you're truly just trying to come out here and bust your butt, making sure everything's already okay. Watch your driving, making sure you're doing all your macros. Then when your fleet manager gives you flack about, that right there, I think it's petty, man. I think it's just his people skills is zero. I mean, really, his people skills are nothing. Yeah, that was I I mean I liked it, as far as the Carthage Caves. The only thing that kind of got me was, so they told me it was in the cave. So when they called me, they said it's going to be in cave number 16, door number 72. All right, I wrote it down just so I wouldn't forget it or whatever. Send them, I'm a little dyslexic. I go 72, door 16. Just, yeah, another story. So I wrote it down, and I'm going through, and I'm going over the mountain and going through everything, and I see 1, 2, 3, 4, and I see cave 10 in the ends. Well, I've already kind of angled my truck, so I got to back my truck up, go inside 10, figure out how to get out of 10, go through another curve, then I drop down and go into 15. So the video is a little bit different because you may see me backing up a few times, but hey, it is what it is. And I did have to get out and look because I put myself in a situation when I got down because it said exit, but it was for an exit for the cars. So I had to back up and I had to turn around, and they had plenty of room to turn it around and everything. But I'm just one of them people, man. I want to get out and look. If I got any kind of question or concern or even any doubt that I'm going to hit something, I'm going to park it, get out and look. And, if you got to wait, you got to wait, man. Sorry. Call me rookie, call me whatever you want. I'm just not. The day's going to get a lot worse if I hit something. Trust me. I don't feel that I can't trust him, Stefan, because, the loads, I just feel like his people skills, man, are terrible, dude. I don't know how any other way to say it. It's funny how good loads magically appear once you stick up for yourself. I just had to deny 900 mile for $800 and a few issues my clock had to juggle. Not worth it. I said, no, thank you. And then download the same amount of miles, $1,300 in a straight floor pickup and delivery. Yeah, so this has happened to me twice, guys. So they've called me. So my last day at the house for home time, it was on a Wednesday. I was coming back Thursday. They called me about, and this has only been night shift that's done this. PM has not done this, but night shift has called me. They called me at 10:30 at night, and they said, "Hey, we got a repower. We know you're in the area, and we want to see if you would take it." And I said, "No, absolutely not. I don't want. I don't. I'm on home time. I'm chilling. It's my last day at home with my wife, and I'm not going anywhere." My wife said, "Well, how much did it pay?" I said, "I didn't ask. I don't care. I'm not going. I'm chilling." So the other night, my phone rang and I got a message, and they had want me to repower something as well. And it was really weird because it's always that the night shift, and I experienced this with Chad, and I'll take care of you, or don't worry, I'll have your back, whatever that means. And we got screwed on a couple loads. But for me, if I would have took that load the other night when they messaged me, yeah, I would have been out of Illinois a day earlier, but it would have totally screwed up my clock. And when I go around and I'm looking at things, my clock is my first thing that I look at. I'm not going to jeopardize and the thing about it was 60 miles out from the destination, from the 90, 60 miles. So not only would I have screwed my clock up, what would I got paid? $100, $90, $60? I don't know. Not very much, because you're only dividing those miles up from, whatever he ran and what you ran in. That's it. So, it just it didn't make sense at all. Why? So Derek, what do you drive? What do you run in? You got a International, you got a Cascadia, Peterbilt, Volvo, Kenwood. What do you got? Or Kenworth? Is everything coming through all right? Everybody quit there for a second. Let me do this. Let me see how this audio changes. This thing right here should be good and charged up now. There we go. How's that sound? A lot better? Yeah, I ain't worried about moving early and having a log violation and everything. They can keep all that stuff. They can keep all that stuff. But man, I'm right here in front of let me turn this thing around here. Let me see if you guys can check this out. Hold on 1 second here. Stefan, don't get jealous. I'm gonna slide my curtain, man. I know you got an old Freightliner, a new Freightliner, but all right. Can you see that guy? Yeah, right there. So I'm literally, man, it's nice international. So is the gas mileage treating you good too? So I'm literally right here in front of the thing. So I'm just chill. Don't have to don't have to crank up the old clock to get. So that's I really like that right there. So I really didn't understand it a lot when I was with Chad, but being at your 90, if they have overnight parking, I think it's huge. I think that's a huge plus. Not all places that I've been at have had the option of being at the location. This one obviously is street street parking, but hey, I'm okay. So she said that they're going to try to get me in a little bit earlier. My appointment's not till 8 a.m., but she said that they come in about 6. So she's going to try to get me in a little earlier. Hey man, 7.7 over those mountains, and I think I only got like 8.1. I went down to Salem, Virginia, and my gas mileage was not that great either when I went down to Salem, Virginia. Those West Virginia mountains, man, I tell you what, for the first time having or experiencing a heavy load, I think I went down there and I think I was carrying 41,000 pounds. And how the roads will go and they'll shift. They'll do that right there on you. Man, talking about you butt eat the seat. I'm telling you, like it did it on me a few times, and I don't see how those trucks be flying through there, and they're doing 70 mile an hour when I'm cruising at 55, 60 mile an hour, and that thing dips on me, and I feel like I'm gonna tip over. I mean, that's just not a good feeling. All right, Tulsa. So that's been a little bit of a they both have their quirks. So what's I'll put it in my video. I did a screenshot. I actually did a picture. When I came here to where I'm at right now, my Rand McNally wanted to run me. It was like it was it was like 600 miles, and the trip was only like 427. And so the Ram, the 740 Ram, the TN 740 Ram, wanted to. It's really good about running your highways, but you know its definition of a highway is not a true accurate a thing. It want to keep you on like 70 or 80 or 40 or 20 10 whatever it may be. He wants to keep you on true highways. But when I saw the huge discrepancy on the Garmin, so I still bounce everything off each other, and I'll go usually the Rand route if the miles are consistent, as far as So, for example, if the Garmin's got 400 miles and the Rand's got 380 or 420, a little bit more, I know more than likely that the Garmin's probably going to take me through a little small town. It's going to take me through red lights, and I'm going to stop and go. And so I just bounce them back and forth, man. I mean, really. So I haven't had any issue with either one of them, but I think you just got to take with a grain of salt which way. I think the good old way is still bounce it off that, but look at the Atlas, because I mean I don't know all these roads and everything, but I went down when I was going to Sanderson Farms, like the Rand wanted to keep on leading me around this. I mean, it just wanted to. I mean, it was like turn around, and I was on a 4-lane newer road, and it was. I mean, it was fine. But the Garmin was saying go on, and when the Qualcomm, when it works, it said go on. So, but I still like to bounce each other off each other. I mean, that's just me personally. But I have found it that the Garmin does want to lead you down uh, through. Now it may be quicker miles wise, but you got to look at stop and go at red lights, little towns. It was so. But now, if you want to run just strictly highway, the Rand is great. But I mean, if you got to get off, and when I'm saying that it wanted to lead me through, 49 coming down Missouri off of 40 or onto 40, uh, it did not want to take me down 49. It thought it was not a highway. Now, I mean, obviously 49 is a highway. I mean, it's a freaking 4 or 6 lane highway. But so that's my long version of which one's trustworthy. I think both of them's good, but I think you need still do your pre-planning, your trip, your trips and stuff, as far as to really break it down and see which way is going where, because when you edit it on there, I mean, like sometimes the Rand and uh, the Garmin. So if anybody's going through St. Louis, I don't know if you guys know us or not, but if you're coming off of 44, you want to jump down on 255 or 270 to go around St. Louis, which is basically kind of like a bypass, and to avoid all the road construction right there. It totally avoids it. But neither one of them pick up on that. So I got to manually put that in there, where I just know that I'm going to turn on. If you're coming from Chicago, it's 270. If you're coming lower, it's 255. Um, but that was just from Chad. We ran through there quite a bit. So, but I'm enjoying it. It's been a little bit of a change. It's been a lot of a change. I did get my shower power this month. Um, so I heard now, I don't know how true this is, but the lady at the pilot told me that they're going to start limiting the showers from once you get them. You have 10 days to use it from the day that you got it. So if you're buying fuel, you do 50 gallons of fuel, you know you're going to get a free shower. So you got 10 days from that day to use that shower. Now, I said that kind of sucks, but maybe that'll get a lot of more truckers to wash that butt because, as you well know, man, I mean, there's been some truckers that I've seen. It's just, yeah, you know what it is. And they're bad shape. Bad shape. I wouldn't say second guess myself, because I mean, I still have, we did close the home last week. Um, so I still have business. I have somebody else doing it down there. I would say probably the hardest thing for me to do is to let it go and have somebody else do it and not be in it every day. That's probably been the hardest because I'm a control freak, and I mean, that's just me. But no, I mean, I make good money in real estate, and I'll make good money in here. Probably my ultimate goal probably will be eventually is I'll get something closer to home if my wife doesn't ever come back out with me or doesn't want to come out with me or whatever. I love the over the road, uh, but I'd like to see my wife more. But I mean, who wouldn't? That's a sacrifice that you got to give. But I think that once you get a couple, 2 or 3 years under your belt, that getting a dedicated or getting something close to home, which in the Kentucky area should be pretty good because I mean we've got a lot of Tyson facilities, we got a lot of Walmart DC facilities, so I don't think it'd be too hard to get a dedicated. But I like this right here. I like newer equipment. I like the APUs. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't regret it. It's been different. It's definitely been different. But I'm glad that I was at a point in my life that I could do it. So that's been and my wife and my family for being supportive. I mean that's a huge thing. Uh, Not only being able to do it, but as your family supported, supporting you about with doing it, and they have been very very graciously. So that's been huge. I couldn't imagine coming out here and for example, if you're worried about your wife or if you're a female, your girlfriend or your husband sleeping around on you, or you're not there. Uh, I couldn't fathom in being a jealous person and doing this job right here. I mean, if they're not here with you, I mean, you would drive yourself nuts if you're that kind of person. So, Derek, where you at right now, man? You didn't say in here, did you? Stefan said that. Where's he at? Buffalo. Wow. So let me ask you this, Stefan. You worked at Stevenson. I don't know if you're still on here or not, but you worked at Stevenson uh, for a while. What would you say would be the difference from here versus Stevenson on your pay, your, I mean, everything from your loads and everything? I mean, how would you say, how would you compare the Prime and Stevenson? I appreciate that, Tulsa Trucker. Chad, he I was on Bags live feed the other day, and it was late at night, and he was talking about training and everything. I can tell you, and I said it in that the chat. Chad and Bags, man, are completely different on training. When Bags is saying that he don't let you drive between 4 and 6 or 2 to 6 or something like that, and he don't want you backing up. And I mean, like, I used to get so frustrated with Chad because that's one of my things. Just like when I failed my 90, everybody knows the story of the thumb. When I was doing my alley dock, and I went out there that morning, and I sunk it in there 4 or 5 times in the pouring down rain with nothing but just holding my thumb right there, and boom, 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 sinking in there every time. But Chad's mentality, and I ain't faulting him for it, because I mean, he's been doing this for a long time. But a lot of stuff that he does is it's his way, or he gets mad. He would get so frustrated with me when we would park, and if we were at a shipper or whatever it may be, he would get so frustrated when he got out, and he would all the time. He'd get out and spot me, and he would do this and tell me go on and do. He'd get. I mean, he'd get fired up. Sometimes, especially when it was raining, I'd mess up a couple times on purpose just to keep him out there a little bit because he'd get so frustrated. But yeah, he'd get fired up at me, and and it was because that's the way he does it. But for me on backing, I haven't had any issues, but one time, and it was in Illinois, and it was about 10 o'clock at night, and I had reserved a pilot parking spot, and man, it was pouring down the rain, and it was full. There wasn't nothing in there, and of course, people were parking where they shouldn't be parking, and this guy kept his lights on, and so I'm trying to maneuver and trying to back in there, and I miss it the first time, so I'm scooting back up and resetting and doing all this, and there was a prime driver that was a trainer. I don't know his name, but he's got a green truck, and he got out, and it was a lime green truck, but he was, I don't know if he was. He reminded me of a Texas kind of guy because he wore his hat and everything, but kind of reminded me of a Hispanic guy. But I don't know if he's from Texas. I don't know. But anyway, so he got out in the middle of the rain, man, with it pouring down the rain. My window thing broke. My window, right side, passenger side, wouldn't roll up. I mean, my seat was soaked. I was so frustrated, and I finally got it in there, but with his help. Um, but now Chad, man, it's watch out. Let me do it. That's or I would get mad, and I would just throw the air brakes on, and I'd say, "You do it," because that's the thing about training is you gotta. I found they have, man. I mean, I haven't had anything that said not. I mean, with that guy helping me like that, I thought that was impeccable. Now, that was just, maybe that certain guy or whatever. I haven't had any instances other than that one, but I thought that was super cool because I was so frustrated and I had to reserve parking spot and I was ready to leave because I was so frustrated because my window wouldn't roll up and I was getting soaked. It was just a bad experience altogether. But that's one of the things that I want people to realize that's coming to Prime is whatever you're doing, and if it's not work, say for example, what I was getting at is Chad and Bags, or yeah, their training is totally different. Is that training backing, for example, may work for them, but as Bags says all the time, when you're out in the real world, life here, and you got to do what you got to do that works for you. What works for me don't work for Chad, and what works for Chad didn't work for me. So take that with a grain of salt. But hey, Trickle Girl, yeah, some of us do. But that's what I was kind of getting at is their training is so different. And Chad, like I was telling Bags the other day, you know, I'm glad that I had him as a trainer because me and his personality are very, very similar. We're really, really hot headed as well. And I mean, they were, you see videos and we're all happy go lucky, man. But I mean, like, when we had some arguments up in the truck several times because it's tough being, two adults in this little truck. But I'm glad I had him because, you know, the way he is and the way I am are very, very similar personality wise. And I was really glad that I had him as a trainer just because of how he how he ran me so hard during my training. How he ran me so hard during my training has really done nothing but show me that, if I got to run hard solo, I can do it. I mean, it's no questions asked. We'll run it and we'll be done with it. That's what I'm talking about when I'm getting these 500-600 mile loads in their 2 days. Man, I'm laughing because, I mean, that's just, I mean, I can go out and just chillax, man, for a day. I mean, yeah, that's right. You know, but now just listening to Bags and being just watching his videos and stuff. I mean, I've only met Bags a couple of times, um, but I know him and Chad. I mean, outside of YouTube and everything, I mean, like him and Chad, they talk a lot. I mean, on the phone, they're calling each other, and I mean, they're true friends. But it shows you that you know they're totally different on training though. But I'm glad, and I'm sure Stefan can say, he's glad for Bags because I mean they had some rough weeks too as far as what they had to run. I know Stefan did a lot of driving in the ice and the snow, and that's something that 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 we all had to do. Unfortunately, this winter we all kind of drove in the snow and the ice and the hail and everything else. That's exactly what Stefan said that he had. That's the reason that guys. I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you. When people when I was there at training, going through the PSD and the TNT training, when we would go to Springfield, most of the time we stayed at the Millennium Building, um, more so than the Ghetto Inn. But I'm truly shocked of how many people sit at Springfield. I mean, they just sit there, and I mean, you can go to driver lineup at any time and get a load. You may have to wait a day or whatever if it's the weekend, but to get out of there. But you can take a bullcrap load to get out of there if you had to. But one of the biggest reasons that I stay, sorry, my nose itching, guys. But the reason why I've been like I was going to stop in the other day, yesterday when I was driving through to Carthage to my New York sticker came in. I got a new insurance card I got to pick up, and something else came in that some kind of permit thing that I need to put in my book. But my biggest thing is I picked this trailer up at Laredo, and it had a trailer inspection there, but I didn't want to risk on it going through driver lineup. Oh, they flag it. Now I'm waiting. Now I'm waiting. We had that issue one time before, and it definitely is yeah. They just now came in, and a new insurance card too, because the ones run out in May. So I don't know if that would just pertain to me or that's for fleet wide or whatever, but the insurance run out May 1st. So, but hey, my birthday's on May 16th, and I'm trying to get my wife, if she'll ever get approved for, yeah, fleet wide. Yeah, I think so too. I think she's going to be on the truck with me for a couple weeks in May, and I'm probably going to have them just mail everything to the house. That way, when we get her on the truck, I can just get it because that's what they did for my license plate. So when I picked up my license plate, they just mailed it to the house, and I picked it up when I went for home time. Yeah, yeah, Tulsa, that's true. I mean, they can flag your trailer. I mean, and you're just, you're screwed. I mean, especially if you're on a loaded call. I mean, if you got a load under your belt and they come in, you come in just to get something or whatever, and they flag your trailer. I mean, you may be late to your appointment or whatever. I mean, they ain't gonna hurry it up for you. Yep. Yeah, I don't plan on going over there unless I have to. The next time I plan on going into Springfield is, I think I put it on my calendar. It's the 1st of June, maybe the second week of June, to do my ACE 2 class. That way I've been out long enough where I can kind of see my fuel mileage, what's truly running, what's it costing to run the truck. So that's my next plan to be there is that, but I don't know. But to be honest with you guys, the other day when I was sitting in Illinois for for as long as I did, because I was there. So my appointment wasn't until, so at first Tim asked me what's a rough ETA for you, and I said 0700, because I was thinking that Illinois where it was on the Eastern time versus the Central time. So he sends me another message back and he says, can you do 6 o'clock? And at first I'm thinking like, okay, dude, you asked me what's a rough estimate of time of arriving. Now you're wanting me to pinpoint something. If I'm late, I'm going to get a service failure. So I said, I can get back with you once I stop tonight to kind of see where I'm at, because I knew I was going through Austin and San Antonio and Dallas and all that. So I knew traffic was going to be really bad, because I was going to hit it like at rush hour. So 15 minutes later, he says, your appointment's set for 2200. No, yeah, 2200 at the next day. I'm thinking like, man. So I actually made it at that appointment at 0500. They unloaded me at 1700, and I didn't leave actually until the following afternoon. So while I was sitting there, I was contemplating on driving up to Springfield just to go through driver lineup to get a load because I was tired of waiting. I didn't, but I thought about it. Actually went past there to get, when I got the Carthage load, I actually had to go through Springfield off 44. It wasn't a choice for me. I got pulled out luckily I had my load so I can leave as soon as my trailer's out of the shop. My 90 still doesn't have an appointment time yet. My O2 is at 521. No, not most of them. I mean, some of them when you're there, like maybe a couple hours early. Now, what I have found, if you got a spotted trailer, typically if you get there early, they'll let you drop and hook early. I've that's been true. But if you got a live unload or a live load, you may get in a couple hours early, but that's about it. Yep. And that's typically on the dropping hooks. Like I know when we went to Salt Lake City one time for Walmart DC, um, up there, Chad was always real big on because Walmart. So for example, if your appointment at Walmart is 421 and you go there, and even though it's a drop and hook, if you go at 420 the next night before and drop it and hook, and they'll let you do it, you're going to get a $3,000 charge. They're going to do a service failure on you, and they're going to charge you $3,000. I just got that message from the fleet manager saying that somebody did that. But now listen to this: if they would have waited until midnight and it's the same day, you could do it, and they don't charge you anything. But now on the live loads, you can only get there an hour early on some of the DCs, the distribution centers. But now I went 4 hours early in London, in Kentucky, where I'm from, and they let me in 4 hours early and got me in and out. Nope, that's not true, trucker. It's not true at all. 4 hours early in London, Kentucky. That's what Chad tried to tell me. Because my appointment actually was not until 1600. This is when I was going home for home time, and I parked the rig at a Pilot, whatever, or actually a Walmart. Then I drove it in, so my wife got on the truck with me. We drove down to London, and I got there at 12 o'clock, and they did not open up. They did not come in until till 2 o'clock, 1400. And she said, even though your appointment's not till 16, if you want to come back at then we'll take you back and do it. Yeah, so I think the one open allows you early. It sounds like you have to learn the procedures of each of these shippers and receivers. Yeah, Tulsa, let me tell you, I don't know if you're familiar with Evernote, but I use it, and I actually shared a template that I use. Well, I don't use it as much anymore because I kind of know the macros and everything to do now. The 44, 55, the threes, the fours, the O1s. I mean, all that bull. But when you're first starting getting out and learning, when you do your live load calls and all this, they're going to ask you for all these, information. So I created a checklist. It's on one of my videos on YouTube, but it's an Evernote, a form that I created that basically will document everything in there for you. That type your notes and everything. So what I've done now is I've created a folder for myself that even if the Qualcomm says that there's no overnight parking, there's sometimes overnight parking. When there's sometimes it says overnight parking, sometimes they're not overnight parking. So I've made notes in there and basically put tags and put that information in there. That way, when I go back there, if I wanted to know if something's got overnight parking, or if I can drop early, or if it's a drop and hook, or if it's a live load, I've got these notes in here that I've been there before that will kind of help me out. But Evernote, I'm telling you, I don't know if you guys use it or heard of it, or you just use your notepad. I mean, I don't care what you use. I'm just a tech geek, and I like, to use. I've used Evernote for probably the last 10 years. I mean, I've used it for real estate. You can do different folders. Um, I like it. It's easy, simple. My receipts, I've got every single receipt. I've created a folder for the tax company. That way, when I once a month I send those out to them. It just simplifies things. Yep. Nope. It's for Windows, Macs, phones, anything. It's a good platform. Yeah. It was funny because when I pulled up here to the gate up here, um, she said, "Well, you can just turn around in here. I'll raise the gate, and you can turn right here." And if I would have done it, I would have been facing the opposite way and on the backing. So I told her, I said, "I'll just back up right here." And she looked at me like I had four heads or something. She was like, "You're going to back up there?" But I like to back up when I know the surroundings. Again, just it gets you more practice.